Okay, we'll move on to the next little block here that I use a lot, which is called the compressor, or it's called dynamics here. I don't know why I guess it's another room. Now this looks like some math equation you have in high school, and it actually is, but you don't really need to know. Thankfully, with this system, you don't really need to know too much math. It's more, the more you know, the better, but it really visualizes stuff for you pretty well so you can get an idea of what's going on. The way I understand this aspect, again, we're under dynamics, and again, your channel needs to be selected. We'll go to the key. Let's go to the electric guitar, actually. Electric guitarists actually might be very well aware of compression. Basically, this is kind of a, you know when someone is speaking like kind of far away from the mic, and then they'll come closer to the mic, and then they'll go back farther away when they are singing loudly. So they'll go like, you know, this, I know that's kind of funny. That is basically what this is doing automatically for you. So the compressor is lowering the volume based on where you have it. It's going to lower that the louder they get, the more it's going to lower it. So if they get too loud, it's going to cut out, not cut out, but it's going to lower the volume automatically for you. Now, how do you know where to set it? Well, you can, again, it goes back to experimenting. This is the knob over here, or you can use the knob here. It's the same thing. You can see, same thing. And this adjusts the graph, the line. And you notice the closer I get to the bottom, the more it cuts out. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. Now, I've heard people like to keep it where the cutting pretty much maxes out at 8. So the loudest they get is it's going to cut out at 8, and that's pretty much where you want it at. And you can based on how it sounds. Really don't, all these rules, forget the rules. If it sounds better, you know, really low, go ahead. Be careful with that, though. You know, you really need to be careful with these things. In a live setting, during practice, go for it. During, you know, when you're alone like I am and you're listening to a pre-recorded session, go for it. Go crazy. See what it sounds like at, you know, negative 60. You're not going to hear much. But best to be conservative in live settings. Be very careful doing crazy stuff in live settings. Basically, a good rule of thumb. Again, pressing it activates it, and basically orange is on. This stuff I'm not going to get into because it's far too complicated for this kind of tutorial. You can have auto. I'm not going to get too much into that. Basically, what you need to know is adjust this accordingly to where their voice or their instrument is hitting about the middle here. And then you'll notice if you do that, their voice is going to be really quiet. So they actually added an additional gain. So remember what I told you gain over there was? Well, this is another gain. And this is, think of this as like one of the sprickets outside the, you know, those houses for water. This is like one of those. And you're gonna adjust the intensity of that pressure with this gain. So if they're too quiet after applying the compressor, go ahead and turn them up, or vice versa. If they're too loud, turn them down. Just something else to know. This stuff up here, this is more technical. The more you learn this, the more you'll just understand what this stuff is. I don't touch any of that. I don't touch any of this. I'm always down here adjusting this and adjusting that. That's it for me.